Call me crazy, Brew. The one way that I've seen Patrick Mahomes really be flustered is when teams get to him. And last year was the fastest time to throw, Josh, of his career, but it was like middle of the was it top 10? Rodgers was number 1, Mahomes was top 10. Maybe I've got like Drake May scar tissue, but when the offensive line breaks down, bad things happen. Bo Nix is a good to very good quarterback who won 14 games because the offensive line was impenetrable. So I don't know. I like offensive line for Mahomes.
Oh, right. That's why they did it, because the O-line was impenetrable. I just, you know what's funny? This is one of the rare instances that I knew that line was coming, because it was part of another segment about should the Chiefs draft the no line, and so like I knew it, and yet like it still hits me. And I realized as soon as I heard that before I knew I wanted to make a clip about it. And then as I continued to talk, I made, a whole Chiefs video that posted yesterday, and it was like I was realizing in real time as I was talking about Mahomes and the O-line and all of this, as I was looking over some data, what I can bring up, and it's just I was at the same time I was simultaneously crafting what I was going to talk about with Bo Nix. And although now hearing that statement again, I just thought of another thing and I'm just like my mind starts just seeing a million different paths to walk. And before I jump into the numbers, because I want to go through the numbers because it's so basic. It's so easy. Honestly, it's so simple. It's so I don't even got to make any of my own little charts and graphics. It's very simple. Very, very straightforward. And you'll see why things like this irk me so much. We know all lines matter. We know that. Nobody is disputing that. We know that. We know that. We know that. But there are definitely certain quarterback. Like there's just certain things. And it's not even just Mahomes. It's Stafford too. Like Stafford had an elite O-line, had an awesome O-line over the years really. And so was Mahomes, etc. And yet like no one's like those quarterbacks rode that offensive line to 13, 14, 15 wins, whatever it may, to a Super Bowl win, but with like Bo Nix that's what it was, just the O-line was impenetrable therefore, and again he's had an awesome O-line absolutely last year, or his rookie year. Having that level of an offensive line is a massive luxury. No doubt about it. Like not arguing against that at all, but multiple things can be true. I say this all the time. This is such a broken record. Multiple digs could be true. They have a great O-line and Bo Nix is awesome at not taking sacks. Patrick Mahomes has just genuinely not been a great quarterback with the pressure breaking down on him. That's just the reality. It's just the reality. Other quarterbacks have done better now when facing that pressure. It's just a fact. And to now remove the fact that some of these other quarterbacks, specifically Bo Nix here, and not giving him that type of credit is insane. And I pointed this out when he was a rookie, how unbelievable he was. I was screaming this, how unbelievable he was without taking sacks. And I just want to start here because this was kind of one of the main things that I was drilling down in my Mahomes clip, was that this is now pressure when having the ball for 2.5 seconds or more. Okay. And his pressure to sack percentage. So now this is really in essence when at the core of it the play hasn't gone according to plan essentially, right? Some of this is going to be like he was, maybe just holding on to the ball too long, maybe missing a throw in terms of like missing a read and whatnot, but for the most part this is going to be more plays along the lines of I call hike. I'm going through my progressions, there's nothing much for me here. Under 2.5 seconds, that's when it's just like you call hike and you're just like, oh man, this broke down very quickly, right? Sometimes it's just, oh my god, he got flushed out of the pocket right away. And other times it's 1, 2, oh my god, and it's quick. This is going to be more typically where you're like, okay, you call a hike, you've been at home, you're watching it, you feel that kind of extra beat and you're just like you're waiting for something to happen and it just doesn't quite happen in those moments. Okay, he's pressured. Where are you, Bo Nix? 189 times. Okay. He's so good at not taking sacks when you compare it to Patrick Mahomes' one. Bo Nix was pressured actually more times. 189 to Patrick Mahomes is 176. Although Patrick Mahomes was sacked 34 times and Bo Nix was sacked 21. Okay, Bo Nix had 27 throwaways. Patrick Mahomes had 26 despite having another 13 dropbacks with pressure. Patrick Mahomes scrambled 53 times. Bo Nix scrambled 34 times. Bo Nix was able to pick up 114 first downs. 114 first downs, Patrick Mahomes 103. And so when Bo Nix was just pressured as a whole, 218 times he was under pressure. Patrick Mahomes 205. He had a 10.1 pressure to sack percentage. Patrick Mahomes 16.6. 6. Bo Nix 3.58 seconds time to throw. This is all under pressure when you're under pressure. Patrick Mahomes 3.96. And someone said, well, he had to scramble. He had to run more in those moments. And it's just 22 scrambles, Bo Nix 17. Again, 27 throwaways for this specific stat. And now for Patrick Mahomes it's a little less 24. Bo Nix just did a better job at not taking sacks regardless of the quality of his offensive line. That's just the reality of the situation. When under pressure, 41.9% completion percentage for Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix 48%. And you're not going to tell me about receivers because Patrick Mahomes had 7 drops under these situations, when you're under pressure, etc. And Bo Nix had 12. His drop percentage was 12.2%. Patrick Mahomes was 10.1%. Now, this is where it continues to get even more interesting because this is now when being formally blitzed, right? When it's a formal blitz and it's not just kind of, the pressure getting you the O-line, etc. This is when you're formally being blitzed. Bo Nix was pressured to the pressure actually reached him after, through the blitz 72 times. Patrick Mahomes 49 times. So Bo Nix, now I'm sure Bo Nix was probably pressured a little bit more than Patrick Mahomes, but again, something that's supposed to make someone like a quarterback at the level of Patrick Mahomes great and special is being able to handle the blitz, right? And be able to understand where the pressure is coming from, right? Who's hot, what just being able to know what's about to happen before it happens, right? That's what's going to make an actual veteran great quarterback who they are. Bo Nix, you're going to give him a lot more benefit of the doubt. Second year, he's still developing in that regard. And yet, he still handled it better. His pressure to sack ratio percentage was 8.3. Patrick Mahomes 14.3. And again, he had 2.59 seconds to get rid of the ball. Bo Nix 2.66. So, pretty much a toss-up there. But what's so interesting is that Bo Nix, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions when being blitzed. Patrick Mahomes, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions when being blitzed. And when we talk about support, Bo Nix, 6 drops, Patrick Mahomes 4. Bo Nix adjusted completion percentage, so factoring in throwaways, drops, etc., 76.2%. Patrick Mahomes 73.3%. So, no matter how you slice it, Bo Nix just simply did better when the pressure was there, when the pressure was on, when he was being formally blitzed, when it was just a breakdown in protection, etc., whether it was an extended play, holding on for the ball for more than 2.5 seconds, no one's really open, whatever it may be, or less than that. And this is now, and this will be the last, group of stats I show you. Under 2.5 seconds. In under 2.5 seconds, Bo Nix was pressured 29 times. Patrick Mahomes was pressured 28 times. And now again, this is under 2.5 seconds. So this is when these are the types of plays that things are breaking down quite quickly again, whether it's a blitz or just because, and that's 28-29. And Pat, this is what Patrick Mahomes has always been great at, right? Getting the ball out quick, doing everything fast. It's always been, I always say hike, throw, like that's Patrick Mahomes has been doing that really for these last few years big time, and so he's great. He took 0 sacks under those circumstances, and it's like, yeah, that checks out. Bonix only one. Like it's okay to give him those flowers cause that's exceptional. He had a 3.4% pressure to sack percentage. Like that's exceptional. Okay. Sam Darnold in that circumstance was 9.8. Matthew Stafford obviously elite quarterback 5.6, right? Like I'm just kind of hopping around here. Josh Allen 7.4. 4, and so, again, these quarterbacks in these types of situations they're typically pretty good at not taking a sack, especially when you're going to be more experienced cause you just know I got to get rid of the ball right away, right? Like very rarely are they just going to be like, okay, it's done. And you just see them like, okay, I'm about to get crushed here, or they just kind of roll around and they just kind of, fall and then they just get kind of like tapped. But Bo Nix handled all of the various circumstances at an elite level. Truly at an elite, just a statistical elite level at the bare minimum. And just so we're clear, when only having 2.5 seconds or less to get rid of the ball, Bo Nix had 261 attempts. Patrick Mahomes had 263. So you're really talking in as close of a one-to-one comparison that you can get. Like some of these can be kind of tough to look at some of these bottom line numbers because you're like, oh, there's a difference of like 40 pass attempts. Like Jackson Dart in this instance has 172 pass attempts in under 25 seconds. Okay, that's, it becomes a little bit harder to make some of these comparisons. But when you're all looking at things that are within striking distance of each other, you can kind of, you can see how you get there. So yeah, and this is what continues to be so interesting about some of the data like this, because again, we can see that it's essentially almost near identical for Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix in terms of their dropbacks, their pass attempts in under 2.5 seconds. Their completions, like it's pretty kind of crazy how almost identical this is right here. And it's not always like that. Jared Goff's 298 pass attempts. Bo Nix 261, Patrick Mahomes 263, Dak 266. But we look at this and we see Bo Nix great 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So more interceptions, but more touchdowns. But it's interesting because Bo Nix actually has 9 big-time throws in this type of, getting the ball out quick, and Patrick Mahomes too, and it's like, but he has all these touchdowns. Like it's pretty interesting until you realize that you have some of these behind the line of scrimmage passes, 3 touchdowns. Those are all going to be within 2.5 seconds. That's 3 touchdowns right there. Bo Nix actually has 0 touchdowns for behind the line of scrimmage, which is pretty. That's an indictment on Sean Payton right there. That's an indictment on Sean Payton. No doubt about it. And then you look at Patrick Mahomes with 3 touchdowns on screen passes. And it seems like Bo Nix will have another 0. He's got 0 touchdowns on screen passes. That's honestly pretty wild. Justin Herbert, none. Bo Nix, none. Sam, none. That's pretty bad, honestly. But what I find frustrating in clips like these is that even the very thing that you should be able to give the credit to for Bix, I understand if you don't think he's this great elite quarterback, that's fine, right? I understand that everyone's going to have different opinions, and everyone's going to be on a different spectrum in terms of what they, how great they think any quarterback is in any given moment. But there are certain things that you can't take away from someone. Like I don't think Kyler Murray is this unbelievably elite quarterback, which lots of people feel that way, but I still can't take away like his elusiveness and his mobility and his speed and, like I can't deny him that. I can't deny him that. So, like it's frustrating that one of the genuine undeniable superpowers of Bo Nix were just like, well, he had an elite O-line and that's what got them to 14 wins. And it's just like, how do you possibly reduce the success of the Denver Broncos and therefore just specifically Bo Nix to just well the O-line was impenetrable and therefore that's why they did what they did. And it's like what? Like we've established it's 2026. We understand. I think everyone truly understands the importance of the offensive line. Anyone that was kind of doubting the importance of it or laughing at one quarterback for struggling with the bad O-line like haha you're just no excuses and then they see that their quarterback doesn't have a great O-line and they're like why he didn't have an O-line. I think everyone has every great quarterback so far over these last few years has had some pretty eye-opening experiences of like, oh wow, things are hard when you don't have an O-line. We got that. We do. We that's established. We know it. We got it, right? We know it. It's we got it. But to just pick and choose when we want all those flowers going in that direction, I just continue to take issue with. I do just straight up because unless you really are watching, unless you're really paying attention, then you could think that someone like a Bo Nix is not really contributing in any measurable way at that point. And it was like it was the O-line why they beat the Chiefs against Patrick Mahomes, in that awesome game. That's why it was the old line, why they beat the Buffalo Bills. Like again, all of these things are contributing factors, right? It's not like no, I'm not out here saying it was all Bo Nix. Like that's not what I'm arguing, but it's just I don't know. Even like a casual throwaway line like that, I'm just like, well, wait a second. We're not really telling the whole story here. Also, the Chicago Bears had the best pass block win rate at 74%. They were number 1. Were they the number 1 seed? Were they? 'Cause I don't think so. I don't think so. Trying to see where the Denver Broncos at. They were actually 68%. They were ranked 8th and in pass block win rate. Run block win rate 74%. They were ranked 4th. I mean the San Francisco 49ers 67% pass block win rate. Is anyone talking about how great that O-line was and that's why they were able to get by and make it through? Everyone's praising Shanahan and even like M. Jones and Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey. I mean, everyone's complaining about the O-line for the Baltimore Ravens. 69% pass block win rate. 69%. And that's not cooked. That's not because they're just getting rid of the ball real fast. We know that's not how the Baltimore Ravens play. Lamar Jackson's time to throw is 3.16. But the run block win rate was definitely a lot lower, 71%. Relative to what the other run-in is, and they were only ranked 17th. So then that kind of starts to mesh together. So you just have to be careful about when you're making some of these statements and some of these comments. I will always be hyper aware of where pleasure, where what's the word I'm trying to think of right now, where praise and responsibility is being credited to, and it's just I don't know. If it was another quarterback, would you say that? And you just wouldn't. And we never do. I mean, it's pretty remarkable that we see this now year after year after year, that any time there's a quarterback that is just everyone puts their arms around. If they're great, if they have a great season, no one wants to talk about how great the receivers are, how great the coaching is, how great the run game is, how great the O-line, like no one ever wants to talk about that. But if there's a quarterback that everyone has just reached the conclusion he's not great, he's not elite, he's not special, and he has some of these luxuries like a great O-line, it's just like that's why they were able to do what they were able to do. And it's like, no. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix? I mean, can the guy get flowers for anything? I mean, honestly, if you can't even give him credit for this, for the one thing that he truly does undeniably incredibly well, both when you just watch it with your eyes and clearly just basic statistics, then I don't know what else. But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So, you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.